The red and blue lights were bouncing off every house on Maple Grove Avenue like some kind of twisted disco ball, no joke. It felt like the whole neighborhood was suddenly the center ring in a circus run by control freaks and petty tyrants. Picture this: two patrol cars rolled right up to our driveway, and there's my wife Sarah standing there in her old faded fire department t-shirt, clutching our garden hose like she's just been caught robbing Fort Knox. And right across the lawn, you've got Patricia Harmon, the self-crowned queen of the HOA, arms folded, tight lips curled into the kind of smug smile that could curdle cream. I wish you could have seen her face. It lasted all of 30 seconds, just long enough for her to start savoring what she thought was going to be her moment of glory, and then bam, here comes Fire Chief Rodriguez pulling up behind the cruisers, stepping out of his truck like he owns the street. He takes one look at the scene, spots Sarah, and turns on Patricia with a voice cold enough to freeze the sun. "Why are you interfering with our department's scheduled drill?" Let me back up a sec. Sarah and we'd only just moved to Maple Grove Avenue 3 months before, right after she retired from 20 years on the job as a firefighter, early because her knee just wouldn't take it anymore. But let's be real, you can't take the firefighter out of Sarah, not even if you tried. Retirement lasted about 5 minutes before she started volunteering for the local department's community outreach, teaching fire safety to kids running drills for folks who'd never touched an extinguisher in their life. Meanwhile, I'm working from home as a software dev, so I had a front row seat to all this neighborly insanity every single day. Our house, pretty standard, nothing fancy, just your typical 2-story with a patch of grass out front. What we didn't realize moving in was that we'd basically signed the deed over to Patricia. She ran that HOA like it was her own little monarchy. You gotta understand, Patricia was something else. Mid-50s, always in country club attire, armed with her rule book like it was the 10 Commandments. She'd give you a warning if your trash cans were visible after 4 p.m. on collection day, measure your grass with a ruler, fine you for mailboxes painted the wrong shade of black. Honest to God, she once threatened me with legal action over a mailbox. Sarah first caught Patricia's eye during our second week washing down the fire department's equipment for a school demo. Patricia shows up with that syrupy voice. "Excuse me, but we're under a drought advisory. All non-essential water use is prohibited." Sarah, cool as always, explained she was cleaning equipment for the city, not just watering the roses. Patricia couldn't find a rule to quote, so she walked off in a huff. But after that day, it was like she made it her life's mission to catch us breaking some law. She started snapping pictures every time our sprinklers went on, even though we only used them on our assigned days. Once, I swear, she measured our grass in front of everyone, like she was surveying the moon landing. It got so petty, she even tried to say Sarah's fire department parking placard was an unapproved vehicle modification. The real fireworks started when Sarah scheduled a fire safety drill for the whole neighborhood, totally legit, permits from the city, letters to the HOA board, flyers everywhere. This was about showing folks how to use an extinguisher, how to get their family out safe, basic stuff every family ought to know. But no, Patricia had to make it her personal crusade. We cannot have people running around playing with water during a drought advisory. What kind of example does that set? At the next HOA meeting, she nearly turned purple, denouncing the drill. Sarah calmly explained the fire department's water truck would be used and the hose stuff would be minimal, all for demonstration, all above board. The rest of the board just wanted to get on with their day, but Patricia, she looked at Sarah and hissed, "I'll be watching every drop you use. 1 gallon over and I'm calling the authorities." Sarah just grinned and said she looked forward to seeing Patricia at the drill. Classic Sarah, just daring her to try. So the morning of the drill, we've got blue skies, about 30 neighbors out there, mostly families and kids excited to see the fire truck and put on the helmets. Sarah is in her zone, showing how to use a fire extinguisher, talking about how a little knowledge can save lives. I'm setting up cones, making sure the next demo's ready, and I spot Patricia, phone in hand, lurking on her porch, staring at us like she's waiting to catch someone shoplifting. She never even tried to join in, just waited. That moment came when Sarah started the backyard demo, showing folks how to use a foam hose attachment, which, by the way, actually uses less water and is better for the environment. I was filming for the department when suddenly there's Patricia's voice, shrill and triumphant, calling 911 right there on her porch, reporting illegal water usage and public disturbance. She was pacing, gesturing, making it sound like Sarah was draining the Hoover Dam. She claims to have a permit, but I know that's a lie. Please send someone immediately before she wastes any more of our precious resources. Neighbors started murmuring, some a little embarrassed, some just tired of Patricia's nonsense. Sarah kept her cool, kept teaching. but I could see her shoulders were tense. 10 minutes later, here come the cops. Lights flashing, pulling up like they're responding to an armed robbery. Officers Chen and Williams get out, looking pretty confused, can't blame them. Patricia practically sprints across her lawn to intercept them, waving her phone, insisting that Sarah's been using water illegally for 20 minutes, demands they cite her on the spot. She even starts swiping through her phone, showing off photos like she's got hard evidence of a major crime. And right then, Chief Rodriguez's SUV rolls up. He steps out, tall in broad boots, clacking like a judge about to pronounce sentence. He takes in the scene, the cops, the neighbors, Patricia mid-rant, and his face just drops from confused to furious. He marches right over and addresses the officers. "I'm Chief Rodriguez, Riverside Fire Department. Why are you interrupting our scheduled public safety drill?" Williams tries to explain, but the chief cuts him off, turns on Patricia and says, "Ma'am, did you call in this false report?" Patricia, for the first time ever, takes a step back. "It's not false. She's using water during a drought. I have it all documented." Chief's eyes narrow. "This drill was approved by the city, the water department, and your HOA. More importantly, you just committed a crime by filing a false police report and interfering with emergency services." Patricia goes from purple to white in 2 seconds flat, stammers something about using a regular garden hose. The chief turns to Sarah, calls her by her formal firefighter title, asks about water use. Sarah answers. Crisp as always says, 2 gallons well under the 5-gallon limit. The chief nods and turns back to Patricia. "You've wasted city resources, interrupted a safety drill, and possibly discouraged your neighbors from learning life-saving skills. Officers, I'll be filing a formal complaint." Now the whole neighborhood's gathered, watching Patricia flounder, even her usual allies suddenly very interested in their shoes. "But I'm the HOA president," she whimpers. "I was just doing my job." And right then, sweet quiet, Margaret from 2 doors down pipes up. "No, Patricia, you were harassing the nicest couple on this street because you're on some kind of power trip." Like dominoes, people start speaking up stories about Patricia fining folks for cookies, measuring decorations, trying to ban driveway basketball after 7 p.m. Chief Rodriguez holds up his hand, says, "I think this is an HOA matter now. Officers, are we done?" Officer Chen nods, says they'll need Patricia's info for the record, and the police leave. Williams quietly thanks Sarah for what she does for the community. The chief shakes Sarah's hand, shoots Patricia a final look, and tells Sarah loud enough for everyone, "Excellent work. As always, your dedication will be noted by the city council." Patricia slinks back to her house, but the drama isn't over. Within hours, someone's uploaded a video of the whole scene to the HOA Facebook group. Patricia calling 911, the chief dressing her down, neighbors finally speaking their minds. By nightfall, 50 formal complaints have poured in against her, and the HOA calls an emergency board meeting. The community center is packed, standing room only, people lined up to share their stories. Tom Morrison talks about being fined for his shutters not being the right shade of beige. The Patel family says Patricia tried to ban their Diwali lights. Even Mrs. Chen stands up and tells how Patricia threatened to fine her over her grandkids' sidewalk chalk. The board president, David, a quiet accountant type, finally says it's clear we need to address these concerns. Patricia tries to defend herself, says she's just enforcing bylaws, but David shuts her down. "You called the police on an approved fire department drill and exposed the HOA to legal risk. The fire chief has filed a complaint. The DA is reviewing a false report charge." Patricia's lawyer tries to butt in, but David isn't having it. The water department found no violations by the Johnsons. In fact, they commended Sarah for her water-wise fire safety demo. The city council is concerned about HOA interference with public safety. "We can't continue with you in an enforcement role." The board votes unanimous. Patricia loses all enforcement power, can't issue fines or citations, and is basically neutered until the next election. But that wasn't even the end. The DA pursues the false report charge. Patricia pleads no contest, gets fined $3,000 plus court costs, 200 hours, community service, and a year of probation. And in what I can only call poetic justice, the judge assigns her community service under the fire department's public education program right alongside Sarah. When Patricia hears she'll be working every Saturday under Sarah's supervision, her face goes so purple, I thought we'd need a medic. She tries to protest, even calls it unconstitutional, and the judge slaps another 50 hours on for contempt. And that's how the so-called Queen of Maple Grove wound up spending her weekends teaching fire safety, surrounded by the very neighbors she tried to lord over. People still talk about it, whether Patricia got what she deserved or if the whole HOA thing has gone too far. Maybe it's justice, maybe it's karma, maybe it's just life in the suburbs. What do you think? Was she in the wrong, or was she just doing her job? Drop your take in the comments, because I have a feeling this story's not quite over.